If you are an introvert who creates things you love but freezes up the moment it comes time to share them with the world, this video is made specifically for you. That feeling you get right before you hit post, that tight chest, that inner voice telling you everyone is going to judge you or misunderstand what you made, that is not a sign that something is wrong with you. That is actually a sign that you deeply care about what you are creating. And today, we are going to work through that together. Before we get into it, I want you to know there is a free community linked in the description below, built specifically for introverts and creatives who struggle with exactly this kind of thing. No pressure to perform there, no highlight reels, just real people navigating the same quiet battles you are facing. Go check that out after this video. Now, let me start by saying something that might actually shift how you think about all of this. That anxious feeling you get before sharing your work online, the one that makes you want to close the laptop and pretend the whole idea never happened, that sensation is probably never going to fully disappear. And that might sound discouraging at first, but stay with me because it is actually one of the most freeing things you can understand about your creative life. Online creators who have been making and sharing work for decades still feel it. The vulnerability does not vanish with experience or success. What changes is how you interpret it and what you choose to do with it. When you feel that wave of anxiety before posting something that you worked really hard on, it can help to reframe it not as a warning to stop, but as confirmation that you are doing something real. The work matters to you, and that is a signal. And honestly, the online designer who feels absolutely nothing before sharing vulnerable, creative work might be the one who actually needs to pause and ask whether they are really putting anything genuine out there at all. So if you are someone who spent weeks or months building something, a song, a painting, a short video, a piece of writing, and then sat there paralyzed at the idea of anyone seeing it, you are not broken. You are an online creative introvert. And here is the first tool to work with that feeling rather than against it. When the fear spikes, try to separate the actual reality of the situation from what your brain is dramatizing. Our minds are extremely good at treating the act of posting something online as though it were a genuine physical threat. It can feel enormous, like the entire world is watching and waiting to tear you apart. But the truth is that in most cases, when you share your work, the majority of people will simply scroll past. The internal earthquake you are experiencing is entirely contained within you. The rest of the world does not feel the gravity of what you are risking in that moment. And understanding that gap between how big it feels inside and how small it actually registers externally can create just enough breathing room to let you hit publish anyway. Connect that single post to the larger picture of where you are trying to go. Whatever your long-term creative goal is, one piece of content is just a tiny step in a much longer journey. It is necessary, it needs to happen, but it is not the whole story. Think of it as one small data point on a path that stretches far beyond this moment. Now here is something that matters even more for introverts specifically. Social media platforms can feel like they demand a version of you that simply does not exist. They seem to reward loudness, constant presence, and the kind of extroverted energy that makes your skin crawl. But the platforms are just tools. The introvert's challenge is learning to use those tools without letting them redefine who you are or pull you into spaces that feel psychologically unsafe. This means maintaining clear boundaries with how you engage online. You do not have to be everywhere. You do not have to respond to everything. You do not have to show every part of your life to build a genuine audience for your work. Some online creators have walked away from certain platforms entirely when they realized that those spaces were damaging to their relationship with their own creativity. That is a completely valid move. The goal is to find the version of online sharing that allows you to stay grounded in your actual identity. The one you live in your body, in quiet rooms, in real conversations, not the performed version the algorithm seems to want. One female musician has spoken openly about her struggles navigating the online space, particularly around the way platforms can strip away the humanity of musicians and reduce their work and their personal lives to targets for public criticism. She eventually found that using social media as a direct channel on her own terms, sharing what she chose to share when she chose to share it, became a turning point because it allowed people to actually understand who she was rather than who a label or marketing team was trying to present her as. For introverts, that lesson is powerful. You get to decide the terms of your own visibility. The third and perhaps most grounding strategy is this: whatever you are sharing online, make sure there is always a real-world counterpart to it. This is the piece that matters most if social media anxiety regularly stops you from creating or sharing. Another famous musician is someone who has spoken honestly about carrying significant social anxiety throughout his career. He understands that his hypersensitivity to the world around him, the same quality that makes sharing his work feel terrifying, is also the thing that makes his art extraordinary. When he released his musical project, he already knew the response was going to be intense. Years of fans expecting one thing and receiving something completely different. But before any of that went public, he had spent enormous amounts of time taking his musical instruments out into real physical spaces, playing in the street, and sharing the work with actual human beings in embodied moments. That real-world practice built something inside him that no amount of mental preparation could have achieved. It created a layer of groundedness that made the online noise genuinely manageable. For you as an introvert, this is where your natural tendencies can actually work in your favor. You are likely already more comfortable in smaller, more intimate spaces. Lean into that. Share your work with one person before you share it with the internet. Play a song for a friend or show the painting to someone you trust. Read the piece aloud in a quiet room with a single listener. That experience of real connection around your work will anchor you when the abstract uncertainty of the online world tries to pull you into a spiral. The anxiety you feel around sharing your creative work online is not a personal failing. It is not proof that you are not meant to do this. It is not evidence that your work does not deserve to be seen. It is a completely natural response to a deeply vulnerable act, one that every honest creative navigates in their own way. You are allowed to take it slow. You are allowed to set your own pace. You are allowed to define what sharing means for you without adopting a persona that feels foreign to who you actually are. The goal is not to become someone who never feels afraid. The goal is to develop a relationship with that fear where it no longer has the power to stop you completely. And you do not have to do any of this alone. Down in the description, there is a free community created specifically for introverts and creatives who are working through exactly this kind of thing. A space where you can show up quietly, learn from others who get it, and take steps forward at whatever pace feels right for you. Go check it out. And if anything in this video connected with your own experience, drop a comment below because your perspective might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Take care of yourself and your work. It matters more than you know.